Shanquella Robinson was the kind of woman who people noticed when she walked into a room. She carried herself with quiet confidence, the kind that didn't have to prove anything. Born January 9, 1997, in Charlotte, North Carolina, she was raised in a loving home, surrounded by family who always encouraged her to follow her dreams. Her parents, Salamandra and Bernard, worked hard to make sure their children had a stable and supportive upbringing. Shanquella was close to her family, especially her mother, who often described her as her best friend. From a young age, she had an eye for beauty and a creative streak that would later define her entire career. By her 20s, she was already making moves. Shanquella had started her own small business, a successful hair braiding brand called Exquisite Boutique. Clients came from all over Charlotte for her work. She was building a following on social media where she showcased her skills, her fashion sense, and her personality. She had goals beyond the salon too. She wanted to expand her brand, travel, and maybe open up her own storefront someday. Her life wasn't perfect, but she was proud of what she had built, and she had done it all on her own terms. Those who knew her say she was the kind of person who gave too much of herself to others. If you needed something, she'd find a way to help. That generosity was part of her charm, but it also made her vulnerable. In late October 2022, when she told her family she was going on a quick vacation with friends to Cabo, San Lucas, Mexico, no one thought twice about it. She was always on the move, exploring, traveling, living life to the fullest. The group she traveled with was made up of 6 people. They were supposed to be her friends, people she trusted. They checked into a luxury villa on October 28, 2022. It was the kind of place you'd see in travel ads: ocean views, infinity pools, sunshine spilling through white curtains. Videos from that day show the group laughing, toasting with drinks, and posing for selfies. For Shanquella, it probably felt like a well-earned break. She had been working hard, and this was her chance to unwind. But within 24 hours, everything changed. On October 29th, her mother received a frantic phone call. One of the people on the trip told her that Shanquella wasn't feeling well, that she had been drinking and needed to rest. The story was confusing, and details shifted as different people spoke. Eventually, the group told Salamandra that Shanquella had died from alcohol poisoning. The words didn't seem real. Her daughter was young, healthy, and full of life. How could she be gone overnight? It only took days for inconsistencies to start piling up. The death certificate from Mexico told a completely different story. The cause of death was listed as severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, which means her neck had been broken. There was no mention of alcohol poisoning anywhere on the report. Then another shock came. A video began circulating on social media, a clip that appeared to have been filmed inside the same villa. It showed Shanquella being violently attacked by another woman. She was completely naked and defenseless. Someone behind the camera could be heard saying, "At least fight back." The words cut like knives. Shanquella didn't fight back. She appeared disoriented, confused, almost as if she didn't understand why this was happening. The video spread across the internet like wildfire. Outrage followed. Strangers demanded answers. The story that had barely made local news was now on every major outlet in the country. People were horrified by what they saw. Not just the violence, but the silence of others in the room. No one stepped in to stop it. No one helped her. When her body was flown back to Charlotte, her family saw the truth for themselves. There were bruises and marks that told a story far different from what her friends had claimed. Her mother later said she knew the alcohol story was a lie the moment she saw her daughter's body. In the days that followed, the group of friends returned home as if nothing happened. They didn't stay for the investigation. They didn't speak publicly. Some even attended her funeral, standing among her family while hiding the truth. Mexican authorities later opened a formal investigation into Shanquella's death, classifying it as a femicide, a gender-based homicide recognized under their law. That classification was significant. It meant they believed her death was a targeted act of violence. Officials issued an arrest warrant for one of the people seen in the video, though they never released the name publicly. Back in the United States, The FBI's Charlotte field office launched its own investigation. The process was slow, tangled in international red tape. For Shanquella's family, every day without justice was another wound. Her mother spoke to the press over and over, pleading for help. "I'm not giving up," she said. "Somebody needs to be held accountable for what they did to my baby." The story raised difficult questions about friendship, loyalty, and accountability. How could people who claimed to be her friends watch something like that happen? Why did they lie to her family? How could an investigation this high profile still have no arrest years later? As the months passed, online communities kept her name alive. The hashtag Justice for Shanquella became a movement. Celebrities, influencers, and activists amplified her story, demanding that both governments do more. Candlelight vigils were held in Charlotte. Supporters wore shirts with her photo, smiling, radiant, alive. Her death became a mirror reflecting something uncomfortable about human nature, how envy and betrayal can destroy even the brightest spirits. It also showed the cracks in how justice is handled across borders. Mexican authorities insisted they were ready to prosecute, but they needed the U.S. to extradite the suspect. The U.S., on the other hand, cited complications with jurisdiction and evidence. While each side debated procedure, her family waited for answers that never seemed to come. In 2023, Shanquella's case reached Congress. Lawmakers called on the Department of Justice to take action. Her mother met with representatives in Washington, carrying photos of her daughter, the same photos that once represented dreams, now evidence of how much was lost. But despite the attention, no charges were filed in the U.S. No one was extradited. Meanwhile, the people on that trip went silent. Social media accounts vanished. Some changed phone numbers. None offered a public explanation. Their silence became deafening, and for many, it was an admission in itself. Every year since, her family has kept her memory alive. They hold memorial events and scholarships in her honor, reminding the world that she was more than a headline. She was a daughter, a friend, a businesswoman, and a dreamer. If you look at her old posts, they're still there. Smiling selfies, business promotions, pictures of her braiding clients' hair, little captions filled with gratitude and joy. They're the kind of posts that now hit differently when you know what happened. The warmth, the kindness, it's impossible to think about how much more she had to give. To this day, Shanquella's case stands as a chilling example of how truth can be buried beneath lies, how justice can be delayed when the systems fail. But it also stands as proof of the power of collective outrage. Without public outcry, her case may have been forgotten altogether. The details of what happened inside that villa are still shrouded in secrecy. What started as celebration turned into betrayal, and that betrayal ended in tragedy. Whether it was jealousy, conflict, or something deeper, no one outside that room knows for sure. But what we do know is that her life deserved better. For her mother, every sunrise since that day has been another reminder of what was taken. She's spoken about waking up half expecting her daughter to walk through the door again. The grief never goes away, it just changes form. Even now in 2025, as the world continues to demand accountability, the case remains unsolved in every meaningful sense. The person or people responsible are free. And that's the part that stings the most. That someone can take a life so bright and still walk among us without consequence. When people hear Shanquella's story, they often talk about the betrayal, the lies, and the violence. But her family hopes that what people remember most is her kindness. They hope that her story inspires others to pay attention to their intuition, to choose their circle wisely, and to fight for truth even when it's uncomfortable. Her name has become more than just a trending topic. It's become a symbol of perseverance, a call for justice, a reminder that even when the world forgets, family does not. This case still lingers in the public consciousness because it forces us to confront an ugly truth, that evil doesn't always wear a stranger's face. Sometimes it smiles with you on vacation. Shanquella Robinson was loved deeply, and that love continues to echo through every voice that says her name. Her story is painful, but it's also powerful. And it's one that cannot and should not be forgotten. This is the story of Shanquella Robinson, All facts, no fluff. You've been watching Midnight Verdict. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that deserve to be told.